We'll start with Brandon Corlett. Brandon, please state your question to Dr. Haynes.
All right. Good morning, Dr. Haynes. The team that was selected to South Africa, knowing Krumah, just give us the reason why he was not selected.
All right, Brandon, before I start to answer the question regarding the Kidabona, I just want to thank all of my followers and friends, for all my birthday greetings yesterday. I'm also happy to know that we have now got a situation where Roland Butcher is the co-selector. So we've now got our team in place. So I'm happy to welcome Roland with me. I would like to congratulate the team first, though, because I find that when we are playing Test cricket in particular, away Test matches is not easy to win. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. And first, I would like to, on behalf of Gordon and myself, to congratulate young Chandler Paul, Shiv's son, and also Craig, for breaking the opening partnership with 336 runs they've made against Zimbabwe. I think it's a fantastic effort. Craig continued to lead from the front, and it's good to see the young man, Chandler Paul, getting a double hundred in only a couple of Test matches. I think he set the benchmark, for bigger things, and I just hope that he will continue in this vein. Also, somebody like Rifa, who's got two back-to-back 50s, which I think was also a good effort. And Rifa played because obviously we tried Rifa against Bangladesh here in the Caribbean, and we batted him at 3. He didn't get an opportunity in Australia, and it was good to see him getting the 250s against Zimbabwe. Also, the bowlers, Moti has shown that he's really he bowled very well, and he's really worked on his game, and he looked very good as a left arm spinner, and it's good to see him taking some wickets. And also with Jason and as you know, Azari is still our fastest bowler, and he continued to create a lot of problems for a lot of batsmen in Test cricket around the world. It's a bit unfortunate that we have a lot of our fast bowlers who are on the injury list. So that is really, we hope that they can get well soon, so that we can start looking at, making sure that we have a very competitive pace attack, going forward. To the case with Bonner, obviously Bonner struggled a little bit in the last couple of test matches that he's played. And we believe that we would like to see Bonner come back and play some more first-class games here in the Caribbean, and then get ready for India, who's coming in June. So it is not a situation that, people, you don't, when someone is left out of the side, the first impression that comes to one's mind is that, you're done with somebody. But I had a conversation, not only myself, but also Roland, we had a conversation with Bonner, and we explained to him the reason why he's not selected to go to South Africa.
All right, thanks for that. And Darren Bravo, he has actually been among the runs in the Super 50 last year and now in this first class season, but age is really not on his side, so to speak. But what's the plans for Darren Bravo as it relates to West Indies cricket?
Well, I was in Antigua, and obviously I called Bravo to congratulate him, the 200s that he scored. I think we in the Caribbean, we don't have the luxury to really talk about, age is not on someone's side. If someone is doing very well in our competition, I think his name must come up for selection. I think Bravo has proven that he can play cricket at the highest level. And it's just a matter of, if we can get the guys, if they're committed and they really want to play. But Bravo is a class act. I mean, he has done well at Test level. He had a period where he just lost his form and so forth. But we know that Bravo is good enough to make runs at this level. And, we will continue to monitor Bravo's progress, as he go along in this 4-day competition.
All right. One more, if I may, Mr. Spooner. Godekesh Moti, he actually broke the record for the most wickets by a West Indies Test spinner in a match. A word on Godekesh Moti, and is there any plan to work with Moti and to see Moti bowling in all conditions and not spin-friendly conditions only?
Well, I'm not too sure when Moti played his first test match here in the Caribbean. I'm not too sure if that was spin friendly, but it's good to see that he went to Zimbabwe and he bowled very well. I spoke to a lot of the players who said that they were very impressed the way how he bowled, and they believe that he's the real deal. And he bowled very well in the last test match there, and everybody's very happy with him. I think that in the situation with Moti in the Caribbean is the fact that he's playing in a side with Pramod, and Pramod, obviously the number one spinner for Guyana. He tend to be on the ball, I find. Watching him from last year, I thought that Moti could have been bowling a lot more because I think he brought something different. He has a lot of variety, and that was something that really impressed me. And I believe that Moti, obviously, featuring in not only the test match, but in all formats of our cricket. And we will hope that he will continue to improve and get better. And then, obviously, he's bringing another side to the story. He's a damn good fielder. And he's all right with a bat as well,
All right, thanks, Fleet.
Thanks very much. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, Gavin Richards.
Good morning, Dr. Haynes. Just a word on Alec Athanas, who is set to make his debut for the West Indies. Well, if he's selected into the final playing 11, but he's been called up to the squad. A word on him as to what really impressed you guys about him.
Well, thanks very much for the question, Gavin. I think that when you look at what's been happening in the last couple of years, this young man was on our radar for quite some time. I remember having a discussion with Sawan at the time when he was my co-selector. And Sawan had the opportunity to observe the games in Trinidad while I was doing the ones here in Barbados. And, we really like the way how this young man has really adapt himself to the bigger game, the longer version of the game. We think he has a lot of ability, and we give him a try in the President's 11 game. We were looking at him in the A team as well. So he has done very well for us in not for the Windward Islands in the 50 over competition only last year. In November. So, he's a guy who's in form at the moment. He just got 100, and we believe that this is the right time to give him an opportunity, to see what he can do at the highest level. But we personally think that he has a lot of talent, and we believe that he can go a long way. I mean, we had to take those chances as well with Tej Chandapur when we first saw him. And we as selectors, we don't always get it right, but we tend to trust our cricket judgment. And whatever we do, we always do it for the best interest of West Indies cricket.
Dr. Haynes, part of I wouldn't say the problem, but something that we've observed that, a number of players will get an opportunity either be called up, they'll probably not feature in the test matches or in the games that they've been called up for. And then another squad will be announced and then they will be dropped. For example, we saw it with Kavem Hodge when he was selected to go to Bangladesh a few years ago. How do you sort of, I'm not sure what to say, but how do you sort of address those sort of situations?
Gavin, I think that it's not really nice to judge me from 3 or 4 years back as a selector, because I only started this post in January last year. So making that, we give people the opportunity to play. And sometimes, that even though guys are performing, everybody don't get the opportunity to feature in the final 11. But, it is for a situation where it all depends on who you're playing against. You look at the present form, you look at the opposition, you look at the conditions in which you're playing on, and then we selected the best team possible that can do the job for us.
Thank you, Dr. Haynes.
No problem, Gavin.
Question from Jerome Foster.
Morning, Dr. Haynes, and morning to everybody else, and morning, Sir Butcher as well, the other selector. Dr. Haynes, in terms of the selection of Hakeem Jordan, How is it that he superseded Marquino Minley, who was drafted in for the Australia series?
Well, yeah, yeah. Thanks for the question, Jerome. I think that in the situation when we were looking at the team, there was a lot of our fast bowlers, as you said before, that were injured and so forth, and it was a discussion where we were talking about, in our discussion, we were talking about getting somebody with excess pace, and then we realized that we don't really have that in the Caribbean at the moment, even though there are one or two players that we looked at that we figured that would be able to that can bowl with some good pace. But I think when we then decided that what we do, we look at the way how Jordan has bowled, not only in the 4-day competition, but also in the 50-over competition last year. And even with the white ball, which doesn't swing a lot, he really impressed us with his movement with a new ball. And we thought, well, look, we don't have the luxury of having, somebody who with the express pace. So we'll go with somebody who we think that would be able to threaten the edge. And I think Jordan, with his form at the moment, he looked to be the one that we believe that would be able to do the job for us. So that's why he was in front of Minley.
That is one. Secondly, I want to go to a little bit with the report that came out recently in terms of recommendations for the selectors, that you might want to include a couple of the white ball players, etc., into the test team. How far off was Brandon King from being selected? He was recommended by the independent panel.
Yeah, Joe. I had a long conversation with Brandon, and what we were discussing is the fact that we understand that that sometimes it's good to have conversation with players to find out first what's their interest. But because, as you know, Brandon did indicate that when he started, his love is for the Test cricket, and the longer version of the game. But then he went on to do very well in the T20 and the shorter version and so forth, and that was it. So I was saying to him that we as selectors, both Rula and myself, we believe that he can be a part of our batting lineup for the test matches and so forth, and we want to know what was his interest. And he did indicate, yes, he would love to be involved with test cricket and he would love to, be there. And I said, look, the problem with we as selectors is the fact that we've got a lot of players that we would like to include in the test setup, and we would like to see them playing some 4-day cricket for the franchises. And he was one of them. And then he said that if the conversation was had even a lot earlier, there's a possibility that he might have stayed home and tried to play in the first 2 4-day games for Jamaica, which I thought would have been a good thing. The same thing applied for someone like Shea Hope. We believe that Shea, is a guy that we should be looking at, trying to get him interested in playing test match cricket. He's done very well. Obviously, the conversation we had with Shea Hope, he did indicate that he would like to play as well, but he would like to bat down the order. The same with Brandon King. Brandon King said, yes, I would like to play, but I'd like to bat if I'm 3, 4, or 5 down the order. So, we just want to make sure that there's competition there so that guys that are playing cricket for West Indies will understand that they have to perform. If not, there are other people there to take the places.
Thank you very much. We have a question coming in from Marshall Hewitt.
Good day. Thank you all. Just one quick question. With the selections of Athanaze and Akeem Jordan, etc., for South Africa, how much thought process went into maybe including them for Zimbabwe ahead of South Africa? We took what effectively was the best squad available to Zimbabwe. Was that with the rationale for getting them as much game time before South Africa, or was there any thoughts about picking a youngster like Athanaze to maybe debut in Zimbabwe and get him used to the rigors of Test cricket?
Yeah, thanks very much, Marshall. I think with the situation of the Zimbabwe tour, when we selected the Zimbabwe tour, we just came back from Australia. And again, that is something that we have some concerns with as well, is that our preparation for Test cricket is something that we're looking at, because we've got guys who featured in the Test team and then they go off and play the T20 tournaments, and then they then expect to come back from the T20 and go straight into the test match. And I personally don't think that is the adequate preparation for our test team. We've lost one series in 2022. That was against Australia. And we as a panel, we decided, look, there's no need for us to start making any wholesale changes to make people think that we're panicking. And what we did is that we just decided to make sure that we stay with the core people that we've had in the test series there. That is the reason why I said that Reefer got the opportunity to bat at 3 again, because he did not get the opportunity in Australia because he was injured. So it wasn't a situation where we were thinking about, okay, let us pick some young people now and change the team only because we're playing against Zimbabwe. Because I keep saying, you know, every time that we're playing away from home, there's no easy test matches. And the way how the cricket is played around the world now, we as West Indies now, we don't have the luxury to say, well, okay, well, we're going to send a team to a test nation because we just think that we're going to roll them over. We got to look for W's as we go along to play test cricket and try to get up in the ratings. So we try to pick the best people again that we believe that can do the job in the best interest of West Indies cricket.
Thank you.
Sorry, Spooner, do you mind if I just do one more?
Yes, Marshall, please go ahead.
Thank you, Philip. Sorry. Sorry, Desmond, just one more. Later on in the year, I believe there is a 18 tour scheduled, possibly to Bangladesh. I'm not sure if that's being fully confirmed yet. Some of these conversations that you've been having with the likes of a Brandon King and so on and so forth, are you hoping to try and convince certain, as Jerome said, some of the white ball players who may not be involved in IPL, etc., to maybe go on that A tour, as well as some promising youngsters within the region?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the A team, you can have a mixture of people who we want to be involved with the longer version of the game, and it'd be good to give them some exposure as well. But again, Marshall, there's something that is quite difficult sometimes, is when you've got player schedule. I think Roland and myself, we made a recommendation that what we should do is at the beginning of every year, we ask these guys for the availability to play cricket for West Indies, so that when they look at the schedule, they know the West Indies schedule, they can then say, well, okay, yes, I would, give up a T20 in Bangladesh to go and play a team cricket or 4-day cricket at home or something like that. But it's something that we need to work hand in hand with the players, because we have no intention to stop people from making money. So if guys are unavailable because they are involved in other T20 formats around the world where they might have made commitments before, it is very difficult for me to ask him to, renege on their commitment, But yes, we would really like to see the likes of Brandon. We also share hope. I had a chat with Akil Hussein as well, and I was saying to him, what I would like to see these guys playing, so that we can have a core of players that that we can look at and say, look, these guys can compete with any team in the world.
Thanks again very much. We don't have any other hands raised, so that suggests that there are no more questions at the moment. So, okay. I'm seeing a hand from LA. LA, if you have a question, please come in.
Yes, Spoons. Greetings, everyone. This is Lennox.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Chief Selector, I don't know if this was asked, I just came in, but I had to ask you about the banner situation. I don't know if you addressed it.
Yes, Leno. The lead selector has already spoken on the.
Okay. All right. No problem then. Thank you. I'll check the recording for the response.
We can prepare to close it. We have a follow-up from Jerome, and then a follow-up from Garvin, and then that will bring us to the conclusion of this morning's interaction.
Yeah. What just in regards to the captaincy, Dr. Haynes and Sir Butcher, the selection of what's his name again? First, Shea Hope. Obviously, he would have been elevated, but Ravman Powell, he he was out of the white ball team first, and then he came back into the T20s based on what he has done with the Scorpions. I saw the release and the explanation, etc. Are we strong enough to have 3 different captains in the Caribbean team?
Are we strong enough? Well, I don't really understand what
in terms in terms of talent pool, wide enough to have 3 different captains? Because this would almost be like a new phenomenon in world cricket where we have 3 different captains for a team. It's not the norm.
Well, Jerome, we have had instances before where we've had 3 captains. If you go back to 2014, 2015, we had Ramdin as Test, Jason Holder as 50 over, and Darren Samuels T20. So it's not an unprecedented situation, but I'm sure the lead selector will be able to articulate the present position.
Yeah, it was a decision that was taken, and we believe that someone like Shea Hope, who was vice captain for quite some time, need the opportunity to lead in the 50 over competitions, in the 50 over squads, and also, you mentioned it with he was very, very good for Jamaica. And he played very well. It didn't affect him at all, and we like the way how he led the side in the T20, and also the way how he performed as well for the Taliban. So I think it is important for us to have the 3 captains now, because I believe all 3 of them deserve the opportunity to lead. So you got Powell, you got Rovman, who has done very well for the Talibans, and also for in the 50 over competition for Jamaica. And also you've got Shea Hope, who was vice to 3 captains before, and I believe that need that opportunity now to show that he also captained Barbados in the 50 over competition last year. So it is only fair to give him the opportunity to lead. And then you've got Craig Brathwaite, who is captain in the test match and the test matches and doing well, and it's not affecting Craig batting either. So I think at this time, even though you might probably don't think that we are strong enough to have, I don't know why you would use strength for that, but if you don't think that we are strong enough to have the 3 captains, I believe the 3 captains really deserve the place.
Thanks very much. And final question to Garvin, and then we'll wrap up this morning's interaction. So Garvin, you have the last over.
Thank you very much, Spoons. Dr. Haynes, in terms of the team and the batting order, it looks like we're getting things right with the openers. But what would you like to see, moving forward, looking at this next series and the series after, in terms of guys being able to stabilize, the other positions and really make it their own? What are some of the positions you think we probably need to, or are probably up for grabs, one would say?
Yeah, well, we definitely we really got the opening position handled, but it's like anything, the middle order. We just want the guys to be consistent, and with the guys getting the opportunity, we will hope that these guys would take the opportunity, just like how Tej Chandler-Paul took that opportunity there, went to Australia, done very well. Now he's got a test double. Part of a partnership with the world record holder for opening partnership. This is what we ask. We're giving you the opportunity, and when you get the opportunity, you have to perform. And that is why we had a discussion with the other guys who, we would like to see play the longer version of the game, to also create, an atmosphere where, there's competition there. When guys go to bat and they realize that there are other people there who can get their places, I believe they will start looking to focus a little bit more on performing and performing consistently.
Okay, thanks very much, Dr. Haynes, for your responses to this morning's questions. And ladies and gentlemen, we also thank you for participating. And just a few housekeeping matters. We will have the recording available in a short while. And just to update you again, the West Indies travel from Zimbabwe to South Africa tomorrow, where they will have a warm-up match against the South African 11 before they start the test series.